Hey, all you podcast listeners, you can find Slice of the Paranormal everywhere podcasts are found, or you can watch us on our YouTube channel.
Hey, hi, hello there. What's up? It's the podcast, Slice of Paranormal. This is our historian Steve over here to my right.
Hello.
To my left, my friend Christy.
Hello, welcome back.
I am Ryan. I'm of the Riot variety, and we are here to talk about ghosts and aliens and
Possessions, Ouija boards,
hauntings.
Founding fathers who were murdered.
Murdered founding fathers.
Murdered founding fathers,
That's
yeah.
the direction we're going in
That
today.
also could be a good band name, perhaps.
Murdered Founding Fathers.
It's a little cumbersome, though, off the tongue.
It's a good warm-up exercise.
Yeah, actually, you're
Murdered
right.
Founding Fathers.
Like red
is.
leather, yellow leather.
How many of these founding fathers are we discussing today?
Well, I mean,
Multiple?
some of these sites that we're going to talk about are related to the murder of Alexander Hamilton.
Like the musical.
Like the musical, yeah, you know.
What's that guy's name? Lin
Manuel Noriega, right?
Manuel Noriega.
No, Lin-Manuel. Oh, you're right. I messed it up.
I was
No,
saying
it's not
Noriega.
Manuel.
That's
It's not
the guy that
Manuel.
like
It is.
Manuel.
It is.
All right, now I got to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but he was just on Saturday Night Live.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I just saw him. Let's see. I'll just type in Lin-Manuel and see what comes up. How about I type in Hamilton?
I'm pretty
It is.
sure.
Yeah, he typed
She's
in
right.
Hamilton.
It is. Hyphen Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Miranda,
Yeah,
not Noriega.
So I was wrong about
Like
the
that's
last
a
name.
completely different dude.
Totally
He's a
different guy.
handsome
I think he would probably be really upset to be compared to that guy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, just on Saturday Night Live, not recently here.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Hamilton.
Where we went to one of my favorite haunts as a town, and it's not even a big place. New Hope is like a walkable town.
Right.
It's smaller than some of our little local towns here in central
It's a
Pennsylvania.
quaint little, kind of uppity little shopping.
Yeah, I mean, very artsy.
Artsy.
When you go into
Very
the shops.
eclectic. Like lots of different
It
things
is.
there,
Cute.
lots of different people.
But New Hope is a very old town. I mean, it goes back to the 1700s.
Yeah.
And it starts as like this fairy town. And it's kind of in between like the places like Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. If people are traveling, like our founding fathers are traveling, and they're going to go to New York, this is a nice little spot where there were ferries to cross the Delaware River. So a lot of these people would stop and have, meals or drinks.
Well, it wasn't like there was all these different roads like we have today. They had major roads, and this way you went.
Yeah, if you're going to New York, you're taking
Unless
this
you're really
road,
going
and
off the
it's
beaten path,
taking
yeah.
you to New Hope because that's where the ferry is. So Alexander Hamilton, I don't know how much you guys know about him, but he dies due to a duel.
With Aaron Burr, correct?
Aaron Burr, yes.
Burr.
I'll never forget that peanut butter commercial. Like every time I hear Aaron Burr, don't you remember?
No.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's a famous commercial where somebody was like, it was like a radio contest, and they're like, answer this question: who killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel? And the guy calls in, but he had just eaten peanut butter, and he's like, Burr. He doesn't say it right, so he doesn't win. You guys don't remember that commercial?
I'm going to have to look it up.
Vaguely sounds
Oh my
familiar.
gotta
god!
be on
Every time
YouTube.
I hear that commercial or that name, that's what I
Aaron
think
Burr.
of. Yeah,
Sounds
Burr.
more like Matt
Damon. I was thinking. The
Oh,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Poor Matt
Which,
Damon.
you know what I learned? That the only reason they made him sound like that is because when they were done with the puppet, it looked a little off, and they were like, "Let's
that's
give it
messed
a
up.
name like that, or like a voice like that."
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. But Matt
Aaron
Damon
Burr.
was pretty happy with being in the show.
Yeah.
So it all works.
There you go.
Well, I mean, when the famous duel happens, essentially what happens is Aaron Burr shoots and hits Alexander
They
Hamilton.
both shoot, right?
But Alexander Hamilton, they say, shot high, and for a long time, over 100 years, they're like, he was such a gentleman. He was being diplomatic by shooting high because he didn't want to kill
Who
him.
challenged who to the duel? Do you know that? And did they do
Aaron
the
Burr.
Off the
white?
top of my head, I think it was Aaron Burr that
pretty
challenged
sure.
And did he
Alexander
do the
Hamilton
white
to the
glove
duel.
slap face thing?
I don't know about the glove thing.
I think you had to.
But,
yeah, isn't that like rules of the duel?
that when they dueled, here they recently just checked Alexander Hamilton's guns because it was the guns that were used in the duel, and here Alexander Hamilton's gun had a hair trigger feature added to it,
Oh,
so
quicker.
when he's drawing, he might not have shot purposely in the air as a gentlemanly gesture.
Oh.
It might have accidentally discharged. He
I
could have
see.
equally wanted to kill Aaron Burr.
He could have.
So, ultimately, Aaron Burr is not really tried for this. He never goes to prison for it.
But his bullet gets Alexander Hamilton.
It does. In
Where's
fact, I
kills him.
think near New Jersey. He's shot in New Jersey, and then they take Alexander Hamilton's body to New York, and he dies in New York. Now the messed up thing is, New York's like, well, we can't really try them for dueling because they didn't do the duel in New York. And New Jersey's like, well, we really can't try Aaron Burr for killing Alexander Hamilton because he didn't die in New Jersey. So
Playing
like
games.
these loopholes.
there was a loophole.
Meanwhile, he's on a cart with the horse, taking back and forth.
Now,
So-
excuse me if I'm wrong, but I always thought that like dueling back in the day was legal.
It is legal in the 1700s. It's not till the 1800s that a lot of places make it illegal.
Okay.
So, but Aaron Burr realizes he just killed, one of the founding fathers.
Right.
So he runs away from the site of the
Runs
duel,
away.
and he ends up in New Hope.
Okay.
So the first house we saw
I got you.
is a yellow building, and it's the Aaron Burr house, or Aaron Burr B&B. So I
So
like.
you can
Now
stay
it's a
there.
bed and breakfast.
Yeah, you can stay there.
And breakfast lodging.
And supposedly he hid in the basement at the site. So Aaron Burr's ghost supposedly haunts the Aaron Burr bed and breakfast.
So before it was the Aaron, like when he went there to hide, what was it?
It was
a
one of
regular-
his friends owned the house.
Oh,
So he
okay.
was staying with people he knew.
Just a buddy.
So
Like, help me out, man. Let me in.
Yeah, let me see
Hurry
the
up.
basement.
Aaron
Let me in.
Burr, flees there, and he is seen peeking around corners, roaming the halls.
You mean his ghost?
His ghost, yes.
His ghost is seen peeking around corners.
Yeah, like at the site. And,
Creepy.
and
Aaron Burr, don't be a creeper, man. Just come out and
He's
look
a
at me.
peeping Aaron.
yeah,
don't be a peeper.
I love the name of the place that they had the duel. It's called Weehawken.
We hawking.
Like, it sounds like
It's a little reminiscent of
kind of
another
like a
hawk.
Haktua girl,
It's a eye Hawking is right next to it.
So,
And then you hawking
Yeah,
over there.
you Hawkins down the road.
Aaron Burr kind of leads to other sites. So, because his
What do
ghost.
you mean? The house?
Well, no, his ghost. His ghost
his
is
ghost.
not only seen there. His ghost is seen at.
But Aaron Burr didn't die in that house, did he?
He did not. In fact, he ultimately goes
He just
to
haunts it.
Europe and then comes back.
He spreads his haunts out.
Yeah, so I'm a little unclear on like he never got charged, he never gotten in trouble for the duel, and he
No.
just lived out his life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting
Gotta love
little
the
fact.
Gotta love
yeah.
the 1700s.
Right?
So,
Yeah, Hamilton wasn't a president. That's what I was going to say. He was a secretary of treasury. He was just an important guy.
He was there at
He
the
was.
founding father.
Yeah.
not
Yes.
a president.
not the president, but he's important. He's on.
We should
on our
write a
currency,
musical
for
about him,
Christ's sake.
apparently.
True that. Wait, what's he on?
No, I said we
wait,
write a
isn't he-
musical
isn't
about
he
him.
the $10 bill? Alexander Hamilton. I think it's the
Yeah?
$10 bill.
Is it 10 here?
No, is it? I don't know. Well,
About to Google.
yeah.
I only
Google,
spend
yeah.
money. I don't really look at it.
He is
kind
on
of an
the $10
American.
bill. Yeah.
Oh, there you
see,
go.
There I'm right.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, the first place I took you guys
Mm-hmm.
was the Logan Inn. Do you guys remember that building?
I do. That place was awesome.
That was the one. It was so, like, we went there around Christmas time, so it was decorated to the nines. Right?
Yeah, it's hoity-toity.
Oh my gosh. I felt like I was in a movie set. when
Yeah,
I was
we're
in there.
like wearing T-shirts. We're just podcasters.
Yeah.
I look like a bunch of freaks. And we
And we
walk
just
in.
belly up to the bar.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
what does Steve order?
The most ridiculous drink on the menu.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's called.
I think it was called like wait, was it the Christmasaurus Rex?
the Christmasaurus Rex,
Yeah.
which came in a like Christmas Stegosaurus cup with
Yeah.
like giant leaves hanging out
Yeah,
of it.
that's right. There were like pineapple leaves and
And-
banana leaves hanging out.
This place was pretty fancy.
It was really fancy.
So the reason we went there
Right,
is
we're talking about dinosaur cups, and we're also in the same sentence as
It's
fancy.
so fancy.
It was so like that
But
cup
it
was.
was.
It was Christmas time. It was festive.
And let's just say, I mean, that was not a cheap drink either.
no,
that
the drink was like $20, and I
Yeah.
think it would have been
So-
$40 if I wanted to keep the
If you
damn
wanted the mug.
Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Which, no offense, it's hard to drink out of a Stegosaurus cup.
It
Yeah.
looked rough.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
yeah. The place was beautiful.
It was.
the place is beautiful.
And everybody was
My
super
drink-
friendly.
think I
My
got old-fashioned
drink
or
was
something.
great too.
But the reason I took you there is because it's one of the most haunted sites in New Hope. The place was built in 1722, between then and about 1727, by a guy named John Wells. John Wells was like the town's founder.
Okay.
And it was originally called the Fairy Tavern. And it was named the Logan Inn in honor of, guess who?
Logan.
Wolverine.
Chief Logan. Oh, that's a good guess. Chief Logan, the son of Chief
Shikellamy.
Shikellamy, who lived in Sunbury, PA, which
That's
is
cool.
literally right
No
across the
kidding.
river.
That makes sense.
So, like, if you go
Oh,
there,
goes
you'll
full
see
circle.
an Indian chief on top of a giant pole.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember that.
That's for
Do you have a picture of that?
Dude.
That was kinda
that's
neat.
for Chief Logan.
Yeah.
Which is, he lived, not even a quarter of a mile from where we're sitting.
Yeah. And was he as well liked as his father?
Well, it depends on who you were. It's renamed this in 1828. Logan essentially was a friend of the whites during his father's life. And then what happens to him is kind of convoluted. Like when the Yellow Creek Massacre happens in Ohio, a lot of his family are killed. And he thinks it's by this guy, Colonial Creasap, who's, from down south.
He holds him responsible.
And holds him responsible. So he, in that moment, picks up a hatchet and starts wantonly killing white people.
Oh,
As revenge.
Logan
there, man.
does.
I've been
Chief
there.
Logan.
Yeah, like you get upset. You're like, oh.
He's seen
Got a
red.
hatchet. Just go.
So ultimately,
Kill some white people.
there's a treaty. They invite Chief Logan to this treaty, and he refuses to go. He's sitting under a great elm tree, and he gives a speech that's so freaking eloquent. It's called Logan's Lament. And in the
Logan's Lament.
1800s, you actually, if you were a school child, you would have to learn Logan's Lament in school. It was actually, Thomas Jefferson called it the most eloquent speech uttered, and he added it to his book called Notes on Virginia.
Have you read this speech?
I have.
What do you think of it?
It's amazing. He's lamenting the fact that he was a friend of the whites.
Yeah.
And how he did everything he could for the whites at the detriment of white people picking on him or saying, there's Logan, he's a friend of the whites, as an insult. And all it got him was his own family murdered.
Yeah.
So, like, he, at the end of his life, is lamenting the fact that not a drop of his blood exists on the planet. Now, that's not exactly true because he becomes a raging drunk and he ends up beating allegedly. He beats up his
Allegedly.
wife one day, and a nephew of his actually kills him at a campsite. And in Native American philosophy, when you kill someone, you actually gain their strength. And he was considered one of the most strong warriors. So
Wow.
he has a
story.
very sad life. But back to the Logan Inn.
Sorry.
It gets named after this in Native American in 1828. And in on February 22nd, to honor George Washington. They name it the Logan Inn. And Chief Logan is actually named after another James Logan, who was part of the provincial council and knew George Washington.
Oh, okay. So that's how.
That's how he gets a white name. Like I said, there's a statue of him at the site. Now
Statue of Logan.
A statue of Logan. Now, what have you heard anything about the ghost lore of the Logan Inn? Either of you?
I didn't know anything about that. Even that Logan Inn was haunted. To be honest with you, I thought we were just going for drinks.
Oh, okay.
Is that the one with room 6 and Emily's ghost?
It is the one with room 6.
All right. And I heard.
Oh no! Wait.
Yeah, I heard you smell lavender.
The painting. I did know that. We did check out the painting.
Yes. So we checked out the painting.
There's a big. Is it a portrait?
There is a portrait. So we'll get to that.
Sorry.
Room 6.
Hold your horses there, Ryan. Just hold your damn horses.
My brain worked for a second. I got excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so room 6. It's
idea. Must say it.
Yep.
Gwen R. Davis, an innkeeper from 1987 to 2001, says it is the coldest room in the house.
Oh, that's right.
Despite it being a sunny room facing, the direction that would be normally a sunny room. And people claim to have a hard time breathing in the room. Some say it's Emily Lutz, who was related to the previous owner and died in the building when she was in her 80s. So she moves items, she opens and closes doors, she changes the channel on the freaking TV.
How did she die?
Old age.
Okay.
She was in
so
her
this
80s.
is
Nothing
Emily?
malicious.
This is Emily. Who haunts room 6.
Okay, it's interesting because in every bit of research on YouTube that I did, when they talk about Emily's room, they always show a young woman. You know what I mean?
Her Emily propaganda.
Emily propaganda.
Her phantom may be young.
Yeah.
Because she lived there her whole life. So
you
but
don't.
She was not young when she died.
So when you die, do you get to pick the age you come back as? Because if so, that's kind of nice.
I don't know.
I always thought your ghost would be the age you died at.
It's hard to say. I mean, I like the idea of the Robin Williams movie, What Dreams May Come.
Oh, I know.
You kind of get to pick what you are or what you appear as. So
that's a rough watch, though. I got to be honest with you. It's an amazing movie, but it puts you through the emotional ringer.
Oh, it throws you through the ringer.
If you pay attention, you're gonna cry.
A lot.
Now,
I used to call it Wet Dreams May Come.
Wet Dreams May Come.
There you go.
That's a way dirty way to look at it.
Right.
Room 6, though. If you want to stay there, you can still stay there?
You can still stay there. Adele Gamble saw a ghost of a man, woman, and child in that room. She asked
for a different room.
No, she asked them why they were there.
Oh.
And supposedly they answered her, "We're just travelers and we're just passing through." Now, you said about lavender.
I like that. Yes, lavender.
Okay, people smell lavender in the foyer of the building. There is a portrait of Mr. and Mrs. Lutz. Those are Emily's parents.
That's the portrait.
So the portrait is of Emily's parents, and it's near the portrait you smell lavender. Carl Lutz, a descendant.
The portrait we saw behind the concierge type lady?
Exactly.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, you were asking her, weren't you? Do you ever smell lavender?
I did.
Pretty sure you did.
And the concierge, or whatever the heck you call her.
She was not feeling it.
She's like,
"No."
I've never seen any ghosts.
I don't want to talk about
Never
ghosts.
seen that.
Can you please let me get the
I don't
next
know if
person?
it's part
I
of
don't
her
know
job.
this G word.
Some
I'm very busy.
Some establishments downplay
Right.
their own lore because they don't want that association. And I don't know if the Logan Inn is that way.
It's hard to tell because a lot of times there's a lot of attention for the ghost hauntings and stuff, but yet when you walk in there, you totally don't get that vibe at all. It's very much just high-end clientele. Very how many bars did we see in this place? Just walking through the one floor, which is 4 or 5 bars, different rooms. It was gorgeous.
And that you don't a site like that does not have to push the ghost lore, because for people like me that research ghost stuff, there's half a dozen books on it.
Right.
So they don't really need to push that. But we saw the painting of her parents, and supposedly light bulbs will unscrew themselves at the site.
Oh.
And
That takes talent.
Yeah.
chains make loud noises in the basement.
Loud chain
Ooh,
noises.
is that
So-
because
I don't
I
want
also
chains in
heard? Sorry, Ryan, I
You're
didn't
good.
mean to overtalk you there. I got excited because I heard that there might be some soldier ghosts in the basement. Is that the right room
Correct.
or the right
So
place?
this is where we are, just a few miles north of Washington Crossing. So Washington
Crossing
Crossing,
the Delaware.
George
crossing the-
Washington.
George of the Washington.
Irving.
the
Crossing
famous
the
picture
Delaware.
of him on the boat, with
River.
the men in the winter.
Yeah, the famous picture.
Okay, so like they
We're a few miles from that. That's where New
exactly.
Hope
So
is.
they ate at the Logan Inn, and because
After they crossed?
I think before
yeah.
and after.
Oh.
So
Either one.
essentially,
Good beer.
Because remember, it wasn't. I always thought the Washington Crossing, I'll just bring this up, was like this huge river to cross. Like by the picture, you imagine it's like this huge endeavor,
You
but
assumed it's like this
big, massive, long river. And again, like, so we live right by the Susquehanna, and Susquehanna is a pretty wide river in
And can be,
areas.
yeah, pretty
You know,
wide.
and especially where I'm from, it's very wide. So I'm imagining at least the size of the Susquehanna.
Need a boat.
Yeah, like you need a boat to cross it. And we get to the Delaware, and I'm like, I think I could probably wade across that river. Like
We definitely could have.
it's actually a little deeper than the Susquehanna.
Is it?
Susquehanna is
Deceiving.
Might just be a dry spell.
non-navigable river because it's
Right.
so shallow in some spots and
Right.
rocky. But essentially, during the Revolutionary War, General Lord Sterling had his troops camp out in New Hope, and dead soldiers were stored in the basement. You have to imagine,
Oh.
it's December. You can't dig a grave for soldiers, so they kept them in cold storage in the basement. So where we were at the bar, the basement area that
Of course.
were stored in was underneath the kitchen, which we saw, which was right behind us.
Not far from us, yeah.
You know,
right.
a really short distance away. So,
He plans this stuff and doesn't tell us.
I know.
yeah,
Well, that's kind of the whole thing, right?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to give you too many
Yeah.
hints, but I want to put you in the exact location.
Right.
Appreciate it.
So,
Or not.
it's okay that we were drinking Christmas drinks, and you guys gave me a lot of crap for that.
Yeah.
No, I love that about you, that you did that.
We
Actually,
did not
I
give you
really
crap.
think
we
that's
supported
endearing.
it 100%.
Yeah.
Well, when the soldiers were there, they were drinking wassail, which is like a cider, alcohol, whiskey, moonshiny type of wine with like cloves and cinnamon and orange peels.
I've heard of it, but I never knew what it was.
I actually make it every year.
Of course you
so
do.
I will make you
Not
wassail.
surprised.
Small match of it every year from my close friends.
I do. So like
Leave the clothes out of mine.
Revolutionary War soldiers are seen at this site, especially
They got
in
soldiers,
the basement.
dead soldiers, basement.
Did I also
chains.
hear something about a Hessian soldier?
There are rumors that a Hessian was killed and buried in the basement. I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
No historical reference that I can
Right.
find to prove that. But
Right.
if you were a patriot and a Hessian came into your midst and you figured out that they were a Hessian spy,
Yeah.
you would kill them.
Oh, for sure.
So
No questions asked.
this is Pennsylvania. There's other places where Hessian bodies have been found, like in homes.
And the Hessians
Just
was
buried in
from
the
a
basements and stuff.
Like buried
region
in basements.
Germany, correct?
They are from Germany, from the
See?
Hesse
You're teaching me
region.
things,
In
Steve.
Germany.
And I feel bad for these guys because these German soldiers,
They always seem to be losing their heads.
when my ancestors left Germany, you were actually part of the Holy Roman Empire. So
Mm-hmm.
you were part of a kingdom.
You were.
So a lot of those military duties were, you were forced into them at a certain age, and you had to serve your kingdom. Well, it was the kingdoms that were like, oh, we'll rent out our soldiers. So the soldiers themselves didn't necessarily always
Believe in
make
the
that
cause
decision
Right.
to
That they
come
were
over
fighting
here.
for.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I have some Hessians in my family, that fought
So-
the
Yeah,
Patriots.
so
I believe he's told us that before. I know he is very jiggly.
You're so jingly.
I am jingly. I
And
love it.
I couldn't stop thinking of you last night, Steve, because I was watching this one. It was like a free documentary thing, and I think it was from the year 2000.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it's all about the hauntings in New Hope, and in the beginning it has this big disclaimer about it's not been edited. Everything you see is real.
Everything you see is real.
Nothing
Nothing
is
has been edited.
Yeah, not in post. And all the evidence is just orbs. Like, seriously, every single bit of
All
evidence.
evidence is
Oh, and
orbs.
you
is
know how I
orbs.
hate
And I
orbs.
just kept hearing you going, oh, you're just kicking up orbs.
Kicking up
Kicking up
orbs.
orbs.
Kicking up some orbs.
Now, I
Be
will
like,
say
"Oh,
some of them did seem...
The orbs are getting to me.
You know.
It's so humid today.
Then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
So
But it was funny.
now, also in the basement, a witch's ball was found down there.
which is ball.
Yeah, it's a glass ball
Oh,
that if you hung it in your house, it supposedly witches would get caught in the webs that are in the tendrils of glass that are inside the ball.
let's call it tendrils.
Of course, I have a witch's ball at my house.
Oh, you
and it's
do?
oddly enough not mine. It's my
It's not a
wife's.
crystal ball.
It's not a crystal ball. It's a glass ball, and it's got little filaments of glass connecting the inside of the ball.
To catch them.
So, and that's what the witches get caught in.
Yeah. Have you caught any witches?
My wife
Just their
caught me,
balls.
you know.
Oh,
So maybe,
you gotta try harder.
I guess. So
Here, witchy.
now there's a staircase leading to the basement that I guess a Revolutionary War soldier is seen on.
Okay.
So like that's why I said if we can get into the cellar, let's do it.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem very accommodating to the least fancy dressed people that have entered their establishment that day.
Well, and plus, to be fair, it was holiday time, and they're only open for a few hours in the afternoon, right?
Correct. Then they
they're
close,
very busy.
reset, and then they reopen for supper.
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird. They were very busy, but they were very nice to us.
Yeah.
No one was any. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now
absolutely.
the Aaron Burr connection, he's also been seen at the Logan Inn.
He's haunting there as well.
He's
Traveling
haunting there.
ghosts.
So like he more than likely went there for alcohol and drinks and food when he was hiding out from killing Alexander Hamilton.
Sneak over.
You know?
It wasn't far, right?
No. I
we
mean,
know-
it was like 3 blocks away.
We walked, yeah.
So the last person that ghost that's seen there is a little girl who is seen in the parking lot. And I don't know if you guys remember, but the parking lot of the site is really close to the canal that runs through. There's a little girl that drowned near the Logan Inn.
Aww.
So her ghost haunts
In the
that
Delaware
site.
River?
Delaware
well,
Canal.
it leads to the Delaware River, so I don't know if she drowned in the Delaware or the canal.
I got you.
But I do like to point out that I don't pull all this knowledge out of my hat, even though it's very jingly.
Jingle hat.
The books, if people are interested in finding out more information, because I only give a slice of the knowledge,
Right.
There's 3 great books. Ghost in the Valley, a lazily titled second edition called More Ghost in the Galley,
Like that?
and a third book called Haunted Village and Valley, and they're all by the same person, Addie Kent Thomas.
Addie Kent Thomas. And they're
Jeffrey.
all worth the read? Oh, Addie Kent Thomas Jeffrey.
I wish
So-
the second one had like the
Kent
little
Thomas Jeffrey.
parentheses, like more ghostier or something.
She got 4 firsties. I've never seen such a thing. Addie.
Yeah.
Kent. What's the middle?
Thomas,
Thomas.
and then Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. That's 4 firsties.
And I'm not even sure
Kent?
whether it's a guy or a
Kent
girl.
Brockman?
I think it's
Yeah.
a guy, but yeah, it might be a girl's name. I don't know.
Addie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Short for Addison or?
I
Back
have no
then, you
idea.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Sometimes I read the books and I don't always look into the author to find out more about them. And other times I just start befriending the author to ask them more questions. So this is one of the times I did not write the author. They're dead.
They're dead.
So-
Well, 4 firsties. She's out.
She's out. So that was the Logan Inn.
Not named after Wolverine.
Now
Sad.
we also in New Hope we had to hit up the A Crybaby Bridge.
A Baby Bridge.
Crybaby Bridge. So we go to the Van Sant Covered Bridge. So
Okay.
you guys
Sant.
went to that bridge. Like, what's your feelings on that bridge? Like, like the distance. It's really close to Washington Crossing. We're leaving
It
New
was.
Hope.
It was
Right.
really close.
We're going to Washington Crossing, and then it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, like I could imagine people being a little freaked out by that site.
I mean, that's kind of what New Hope was, though. It was kind of like this little spot in the middle of nowhere right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That shouldn't really even be there. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, you drive through a lot of
It
nothing.
feels old as crap when you're there too. Everything kind of the places we were at were nice, but like the area feels old. The streets are smaller. You know what I mean? A lot of stone and cobblestone and weird stuff.
You can tell the town was not set up to handle the traffic it gets today.
Right.
Like, and the parking is atrocious. I mean, luckily we went when it's cold. In the summertime, I kid you not, like you cannot walk through the town without being practically shoulder to shoulder with people.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
are. It
It was pretty
crowded.
decently
Really
packed when we were
crowded.
there, but yeah, I couldn't imagine.
So,
But this bridge, it just same thing. It kind of felt like, you know what I mean? How would you feel?
I don't know. I feel kind of the same way I feel around every covered bridge. I feel like they all have the potential, and I
Yeah.
don't know, they are all usually old. You know, in
Potential to
some
be haunted
way.
or potential
Yeah,
to have
potential-
something creepy story.
Yeah, like you almost always find some kind of a creepy story associated with a covered bridge.
and I honestly think we're all conditioned because of the legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Sure.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, people
Throwback.
our age group, you know, we've seen the legend of Sleepy Hollow. This is where the dark guy
yeah.
gets the victim. So the interesting thing is, this bridge supposedly has a ghostly horseman who will gallop beside your car, and here's
hear
the weird
this.
thing. The horse will wait for an apple, and he'll wait for an apple for his spook steed. So you're supposed to give an apple
Oh,
to his
Steven.
ghost
Oh.
steed or to the headless horseman.
Oh man, I wish you would have had an apple
Steven?
with us.
I did not have an apple with me.
Is this the one where we were on there and the guy walked past us?
We were.
Oh.
Steve?
We stopped here
Oh,
and a
I
guy
forgot
walked
all
past.
about this.
He did not have a horse, but it gets creepier.
We were doing the Estes method, right?
We were doing the Estes method.
With Jill and I.
We had a K2 meter there.
Yeah. Oh, and the K2 and I turned my car off in the middle of the bridge.
Yeah.
We parked.
Yeah.
And turned the car off.
Like weirdos.
Because, like you guys were saying, there's not a whole lot of traffic. We could see both
there was
sides
no other traffic
coming if we needed to move. So, yeah, the K2 meter went crazy a couple times.
Crazier than go ahead. Crazier than you've ever seen it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was literally constantly going full on like.
It was like
lighting
going
up.
full nacho, is what you're saying.
Full notch. So
You're welcome, Ryan.
Do you remember? Thank you.
when we saw the guy in front of us, and we were like, "Oh,
Guy walking?
the guy
Yeah.
walking."
We see him from a distance.
We did.
Yeah.
There is sometimes when you're on the bridge, you see a black shadowy figure approaching the bridge, and he is seen sometimes carrying an axe. So I was very happy when the guy got near us, and I did not see an
We didn't
axe.
see an axe.
Okay. Yeah.
But what is interesting, I remember this now that we're talking about it, is that we were getting some decent hits with the Estes and with the K2 meter all the way up until that guy got to the car.
Yep.
And I remember we made that decision. Do we just hold hold steady here, fellas, or do we go? And we're like, no, let's just stay here. It's fine. So he passed us, kept going on his merry way, and then we got literally like no responses after that.
Once the
Once he passed
shadowy
us.
figure passed us,
Yeah.
it all dropped off.
Whatever
like
we were getting
e-
went with him.
Right.
So if it was a horse or whatever,
Or
maybe
if it
that guy
was
had
him.
an apple on him.
Yeah.
Maybe he had an apple on him.
Right?
And, right. And they just followed
You don't
him.
know.
I like that.
Now
You got
the
apple
horse,
pockets?
horseman there might be related to. There were two robbers that were hung on the bridge, and they haunt the span.
That we remember.
And supposedly they were either horse thieves or highwaymen.
Right.
More horse stuff.
And some people, if they go at night, they'll see the nooses or the two men hanging.
Oh, ghost nooses?
Ghost nooses.
That's
Yeah.
a new one for me.
Yeah.
So the
We went
last
during the day, so we didn't see any
Thank God.
nighttime nooses.
yeah, totally.
Traumatized.
So the last, I said it was a crybaby bridge. And that's
Crybaby bridge.
Because crybaby
Like Johnny Depp,
bridges,
right? That movie?
Yeah, kind of like Johnny Depp.
Baby
I mean,
cry- baby
they have
cry-
the same
baby cry.
name. But a crybaby bridge is considered haunted because, you know, those poor women that have a child out of wedlock. It's one of those bridges that they say that a woman
Chuck that thing over.
chuck the thing over the bridge.
no.
Listen, in my house we use the word yeet.
Sorry.
She yeeted the child
Yes.
into the waters. Now,
I
this is...
prefer like a football punt.
But you can't
No,
do
I'm
that
just
on
kidding.
this bridge.
I do not condone
It's a covered bridge.
punting
You
and
yeet the
jumping.
child. You're yeeting it directly into the wall of the bridge.
Horrible.
You have to yeet it from the bank or something. So I don't get this whole throwing the child off the bridge.
So it doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up. And that the person hanging is then suspected to be this young mother. Who
You're right.
Sound for whenever Steve debunks something. It's like,
Oh yeah,
debunked.
like a foghorn or something.
You know what I mean? Like-
yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. Like WrestleMania, debunked.
Debunked.
Yeah, we do need we need sound effects.
Yep,
you
I'm
know?
at the
Gotta have a button.
soundboard.
Yeah, we need a little
Like
soundboard with sound effects.
Debunked.
Now, I mean, like we shouldn't really talk like this because you know our crew, our film crew here, you know, like we just mentioned that we should have like shelving, and then we come
Fabulous
and
new shelving.
They just appear. So
Thank you very much, by the way,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you. New set design. Loving it.
we got to thank
Let
our
us
tech,
know what you
our
guys
tech
think.
crew.
Absolutely.
They're amazing people. So we leave there. Of course, we go across the Washington Crossing Bridge. And we go back to Lambertville, which honestly would have been easier to go from New Hope to Lambertville because Lambertville is literally right across the bridge. But the bridge was closed.
That's
So we
right.
had
to
to do
take
the
that
One
walk-
way
long
was
detour.
closed. Like you
Yeah.
could go across one way.
Yeah, we could come back that way,
Yeah.
but you couldn't go to Lambertville from New Hope.
Slight inconvenience.
Slight inconvenience. So I was taking you guys to Lambertville because I wanted to introduce you guys to the Legend of Buckeye. Like, what do you guys know anything about the
Ooh,
Legend of Buckeye?
Is that a cryptid?
Is that
No,
the football thing?
it's
Ohio
the
State
football thing.
Buckeyes.
Okay. Remember the football? Like people get beamed in the head with the phantom football and die.
Yeah.
Buckeyes. So
He's
how does
like,
that?
yeah,
this is,
she's
we were
right.
in Pennsylvania, almost in New Jersey. Why does?
So,
Anyway,
We
get
were
there.
in New
So
Jersey.
we are in New Jersey when we go to Lambertville, but it's so close. Literally, if you're on the bridge, you could
You
practically
could
throw
wade
a
across
rock,
the river and go.
from New Hope and hit Lambertville. So they
Right.
are, you know, long-term rivals. You know,
Right, okay.
between the two. So I took you guys to the steps,
Yep.
those rickety steps.
The
on
steps to nowhere in the woods.
Oh, I
Music
did-
Mountain
Yeah.
is what it's called.
Oh, and I had to make that really hard right, I think, up the.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the reason I was taking you to the steps on Music Mountain is the ruins of the high school are there. That's the steps that you would take to get to the Lambertville High School.
Yeah.
Which they were on quite a hill. Themselves.
Yeah.
It would be a really bad place to unload a bus full of kids.
Well, I mean, yeah, but unless you were eating them. But that school closed. I love the word yeet. It closed down in the 1950s. So it's after it closes down and the new school's built, essentially it becomes
This is Lambertville, New Jersey. I'm sorry.
in Lambertville, New Jersey. So the Lambertville High School becomes pretty much a greaser hangout. You guys know what greasers are, right?
I've seen The Outsiders.
Right?
Yeah, okay, The Outsiders,
Yeah.
you know, totally. So think John Travolta, The Outsiders, those type
I
of
should have
people.
said I read The Outsiders. That
Right.
sounded.
That would have been a little.
it would have
But it is
more
what it is.
intellectual
Yeah.
to have
Sorry.
read it. But come on, we all remember
Let's
the
be honest
characters.
here. Yeah.
Okay, so that's essentially a hangout. You go there, you drink, you party, and you throw your beer cans in the woods.
Comb your hair.
Exactly.
Roll your cigarettes in your sleeve.
Little, yeah.
So
Little jean tucking.
but the kids that go there, they of course, when you're drinking, you recount old ghost stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Of sites. So the Lambertville High School had a ghost story associated with it. In 1935, in Lambertville, had a game against their rival, New Hope. And at halftime, the score was 21-21. So they were
Can you
neck and
repeat
neck.
that year? I'm so sorry.
1935.
1935.
So
This would have been around leather helmets still? Do you
I
think?
don't know what they were wearing, but
Yeah.
probably.
All right.
So the score's
Yeah.
21-21. The Lambertville Eagles versus the New Hope Buckeyes. So the Buckeyes had the ball. They were running for a touchdown when the wide receiver was tackled. When everyone else got up, He did not. His neck was broken, and he laid there dead under the pile.
So that means one of the football players...
One of the football player kids,
him. Yeah, that sucks,
is
man.
unalived. So the game's forfeited. His parents petitioned that football was too dangerous, and New Hope at that time ended having a football team.
Okay.
Wow.
Because of this happening.
Yeah.
So after the school closes in the 1950s, actually 1955 to be more accurate, it becomes a hangout. People are hanging out there, they're drinking, and one of the kids told the story of the legend of Buckeye. And one boy challenged him to a race across the football field. And at that moment, 2 red eyes appeared on the football field. And they heard, "Run across the football field from end to end or die."
Yeah.
So one boy started the run, and he fell and hit the concrete and was killed instantly.
Okay, we got to rewind a little bit.
It's an urban legend right
So
going
they
on.
see these disembodied eyes.
Red eyes.
This is after they've challenged each other to a race.
No, they've challenged
challenged Buckeye.
Buckeye to the race.
The
Buckeye
kids
shows up.
challenged Buckeye.
One of the drunks challenges
Okay.
Buckeye to the race.
Allegedly.
They
This is the
see
story.
they see the eyes.
They see the eyes.
And then they go to start running. One kid falls down, hits his head, instantly killed.
Dead.
All of them start running.
Yeah.
They're running to the other end of the field.
Yeah.
When they get to the
I would
other
run too.
goalpost, they realize another one of them did not make it.
Dang.
So at that point, they do what all brave young boys do who are
Run
drunk.
home.
They all run home.
That's what I would do.
So the next day, the missing boys' parents called the police, and both their bodies were found with their heads twisted and their necks broken. So the incident...
Do they know what happened to them?
The incident locally is blamed on a greaser fight.
Oh.
That it was a fight gone wrong, and these boys were
Snapped
killed.
each other's necks.
Either they snapped each other's necks or someone else snapped their necks.
Well, neck snap.
But after that, they install a fence.
Yeah.
So in the 1950s, they install this fence. And then in the 1980s, it burns down in 1984. But before I think it burns down, some people locally said that the Buckeyes kid's name was actually Billy. And so the legend became, if you go to the school and you yell up or challenge Billy to a football game, a football would fly out of the school and hit you in the head and snap your freaking neck.
What?
So
That's pretty
Everybody's
awesome.
getting
urban
their
legend.
necks snapped in this field.
Billy Buckeye.
Yeah, it's Billy the Buckeye.
An ethereal football
Maybe.
comes out of nowhere, beans you in the head, and
But
And
Ohio
snaps your
State
neck.
Buckeyes is because of nuts.
I don't know. I don't know anything about
know.
sports.
Me neither. Wrong show.
Wrong show.
See the next show.
Now there's
Does that have something to do
another.
with
There's
grain?
a second person it could be. Others say his name was Jimmy Cavallo, who died of injuries incurred in a semi-pro football game shortly after World War II. So a little bit later, and there's
At that
actually
field?
More head injuries.
no, at a different location, but he's from that area.
Oh.
And there's actually his family has a Vincent J. Cavallo Park is in Lambertville. So he was a member of this family.
okay, yeah.
And he Vincent L. Cavallo passed away in 1946. So if it's the same guy, he would have been about age 26, 27, so not really a high school kid. So that's why being in New Hope, I wanted to take you to Lambertville because it's so close.
Yeah.
B,
Hop,
they hate
skip, and a
each
jump.
other.
Yeah.
And you gotta.
Do they still hate each other?
Well, New Hope does have a football team, so I'm sure they still hate each other.
Are they the Buckeyes
literally,
still?
Down the street.
I don't know if they're still the Buckeyes. I don't,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that the
I hope
Lambertville is no longer
Right.
the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, but New Hope might be the Buckeyes. I think I'd be proud of that if I was a New Hopian. I don't even know what the heck they call themselves.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
A New Hopian.
If they don't, they should.
It's
Yeah.
either that or maybe the Ferryman. I don't know.
Newhopia.
Yeah,
Ferryman.
right.
It's creepy.
So, That is I mean, I could go on and
what else
on
was in?
about New Hope.
What's this portrait I have?
Oh, the portrait. Yeah, the portrait is actually the haunted portrait
Oh, get back.
of the Emily Lutz's parents, in the Logan Inn.
In the Logan Inn.
Oh, that's from the Logan Inn. That's
Yeah.
the haunted portrait picture. Oh,
That's the haunted portrait picture.
And that's where you're
if you're
supposed
not,
to
if you're
smell
listening,
lavender.
check out our YouTube to see these. Sometimes we post them on our Facebook, but I am not good about doing that. So,
And
your
there
best
is a
bet to see
picture
on YouTube.
There is a picture of the staircase of the site of the Lambertville High School.
That I showed. Yeah.
Oh,
that one I
you did show that one.
All right. So while we were in Lambertville, though, the best part about it was pizza. So, I think I lost my page.
I was gonna say, I forget the name of that place.
Market Pizza.
Was it? No, we went to Lambertville.
Oh, that's
Marshall was
right.
in New Hope.
That's right. Sorry.
Give me 1 second. I know what it was called. Oh,
Creepy bathroom pizza.
Lambertville. How far was it from this place to the pizza? Do you remember, Steve?
Oh my God, like an eighth a mile.
Oh, it's Nicola's Pizza.
Nicola.
That's right.
Nicola's. Lambertville, New Jersey. Approved by Jake the Snake.
What's that mean?
They had a picture to prove it. That's
They
how
had
I
a picture
know.
of Jake the Snake on the wall. He
okay.
he had
Approved
pizza
by
there.
Jake the Snake. So Nicola's Pizza in Lambertville, New Jersey. Jake the Snake approved. Oh, there was a bunch of people famous on the wall, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Random. Ariana Grande. There were weird ones. It was random. Let us use the restroom, but it was up some creepy stairs, and the bathroom had a strange half door in it.
It did.
It was like
that?
2 feet off the ground.
Right.
You had to go up these small, rickety stairs to get to the bathroom, but hey.
And you were literally walking through the pizza shop's storage area.
Yeah.
It was basically like someone's. It used to be an old home, I believe. Like
Yeah,
converted into a pizza shop in the bottom. But yeah, it was. Hey, we got to use the restroom, which was all
And
that
it was
really
needed to at
mattered.
that
It
point.
was rather small.
Right.
You know, being that it was
Cozy.
Cozy's a great.
I had that
word.
fireplace, which I loved.
The fireplace was awesome.
Yeah.
It says like a hand-tossed pizza, so that kind of style. Okay.
Correct.
Steve gave it a 4.0 out of 5.
I loved it.
Wow.
Says, I love the flavor of the pepperoni. Cheese went most of the way to the crust. It was nice, thin, and you called it New York style, so maybe it was more...
Yeah, like when I say New York style, I think more of a thinner pizza.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. And the pepperoni was good. Christy said 4.0 out of 5.
Wow. Big score
Whoa.
for me.
Although it was thin, the crust, so it was thin. The crust held up and wasn't floppy. Wasn't super greasy and had flavorful pepperonis. Ate the full slice.
Wow. That's huge for me to eat a whole slice.
I like how he says you thought it was thin, so maybe it was thin. That means he's not trusting my
he doesn't-
judgment.
I'm just reading what's written here, man.
I understand what you're saying, Steve.
I don't not trust.
But he trusts your judgment.
Right,
so
right.
That's the important
I
part.
also 4.0 out of 5. Oh,
Wait,
cheersy.
that's
We have to
a-
do a cheers.
Yay. We all
Unanimous
agree.
4s. Wow.
I said crust was crispy and firm. Sauce was great. Lots of cheese. Great pizza. Nicola's Pizza. That's a 4.0 across the board. If you're
Good
doing
job,
Barstools,
Nicola's Pizza.
That's an 8.0. That's out
Yeah.
of 10. That's a
Yeah.
big score.
Like, if I go back to Lambertville, I'm going to go to that pizza place again.
Yeah.
Again, we eat multiple pizza places. These are,
Yeah, that was our second pizza place that day.
that day.
Wow. And to get a 4 on a second pizza, I agree. Yeah, that's
Pretty
great.
good.
Yeah, totally.
And to eat a whole
good.
slice? Dang.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Especially for you.
I know.
For me, it's like I always eat the whole pizza because I think like the crust is part of the experience.
Well, I always try and take at least
understand.
a bite or two of the crust
I do
as well, but
it depends on my day.
I can't always finish a whole slice. Yeah.
Depends on if I really want more pizza or if I want to eat just
Or
like,
how many shops we're going to.
true that.
Yeah.
Or how much alcohol I've had.
That also has a factor.
Yeah. And on that note, hey, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Look at our social medias. Comment on this video. Help us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we could do better. And
Thanks, everyone, for watching, listening, and join us next time. You're craving a slice of the paranormal.
Thanks.
This podcast was produced by Stone State Entertainment.